Hey, do you like going to live concerts or maybe sporting events? If you do, you're likely a LiveNation customer, and some of your money ended up in their pockets because they are the biggest ticketing platform on earth. They also are the world's biggest live event coordinator. So this is a big company, and they are really benefiting from the post-COVID world where everybody wants to go out and have an experience. My name is Victor, and I'm an independent active value investor. I have an MBA, and I also have a lot of experience in business. I've been managing my own fund of stocks, individual stocks, for some time, and I really do some hardcore analysis. Really like to get to know the companies I invest in, and I'd like to share that experience with you and let you know what I'm going to do with this stock, whether I'm going to buy more shares, hold, or sell my shares. Let me tell you more about LiveNation. I like to take my investments through a process that involves four big questions followed by an action item. So the first question is, do I understand the business? Do I want to own a business like the one I'm analyzing? Do I understand the industry it's a part of? Do I want to be in that industry? Is it an attractive industry where there's lots of profits, lots of free cash, and I expect the stock price to rise? So that's the first question. Second question, is the management team doing a great job operating the company, and is the company performing well? Is the balance sheet in good shape? Is debt less than 3 times EBITDA? And I want a discount on the stock. At the end of the day, my job is to make money and make money on this investment. So it has to be sold to me at a discount so I can see that stock price rise. Based on the answers to those questions, I decide whether I should buy more shares, hold, or sell my position in this company. So first, let's talk about the story of LiveNation. And do I want to be a part of that story? Do I want to own part of this company? The story of LiveNation is a big success story. LiveNation was created, from a ticketing solution back in the days when you used to call in and buy your tickets over the phone or show up to a record store and buy your tickets in person. Well, those days are gone, and now everything's done through the internet. So LiveNation has benefited from being an online company to put on these live acts. In the live act venue business, these guys are the big, market share leader. So it's a very good company. It's a leader. It has a leadership position. The industry, COVID really took away all revenue within this industry, and they didn't qualify for all the stimulus and so forth that most companies got. So they just had to weather a really bad year in 2020, another bad year in 2021. But I thought they'd be a very good rebound industry, and that people would really want to go to see concerts after we get out of all those restrictions. So that's certainly been the case. And that's why I bought into the industry and I bought into LiveNation, is that I understood the business and I thought it was going to really rebound well after COVID. The balance sheet is in good shape. They have roughly about $7 billion of cash. And if you add up the debt that they have on their balance sheet, they actually have more cash than debt. So that's a very good position to be in. Revenues that the companies had are quite interesting. In 2018, they were less than 11 billion. And then in 2019, they grew to 11.5 billion. But then in 2020, just revenues collapsed. They were less than $2 billion in revenue. Understandably, we had this big pandemic. 2021 was also horrible. But look at 2022, $16.6 billion. They almost tripled the revenue from 2021. And the thing that I'll point out is if you compare the most current full year 2022 to 2018, it's 35% more. So good job, LiveNation, for growing 2022 revenues to a very high level. Looking at their P&L, their revenues compared to last year have gone up. Very good sign. And they actually grew 73% growth if you compare the first quarter of 2022 to the first quarter of 2023. And they're marching towards profitability. The quarter was just slightly unprofitable, but it's a very good quarter that they put in for March 31st, 2023. Their earnings per share are rebounding. In the current year, it's expected they're going to have earnings per share of 63 cents. And then next year, they're going to be at $1.39. So it's good to see the company's profitable. They're not very profitable, which is one thing I noted. And they have a very high PE ratio. For their industry, it's 50. So taking that into account, and I'm going to put that into my valuation when I evaluate based on the earnings per share method. Looking at the cash flow statement, they produced a fair amount of cash from operations, which is really good. and their CapEx isn't very high. It's very good amount of free cash. But if we compare it to last year, free cash flow actually went down 18%. If you look at the first quarter of 2022 compared to the first quarter of 2023. So it's interesting to see that, hey, they are producing cash, but it went down slightly. I'm going to value LiveNation using both their free cash flows as well as their earnings per share. For their free cash flows, I'm going to use a weighted average cost of capital of 9%, which is a good weighted average cost of capital, nice and conservative. Their free cash flows for 22 were $1.4 billion. I'm going to have that as a starting point. I'm going to grow those free cash flows by 8%. Based on those free cash flows that we expect into the future, the value of those free cash flows is $26 billion. I'm going to add the cash that's on the balance sheet and take away the debt that's on the balance sheet to get to an equity value of $26.6 billion. The market cap currently on LiveNation is $21 billion, and the shares outstanding are 230 million shares. So we get a stock price, or I should say a value per share of $115 using the cash flow method. Their current stock price is $93. So you have about a 24% discount using the free cash flow method. I also use the earnings per share method here. And the earnings per share method, I'm taking their current earnings for the current year, 63 cents. It's a pretty high PE, but it is what their industry has of 50. And when I put that into the valuation, it actually only produces a value per share of $26 per share, but they're trading at $93. So there's actually a premium of 72% using the earnings per share method. I rely mostly on the cash flow. So I'm going to take 2/3 weight of the free cash flow method, 1/3 weight of the earnings per share method, and I get to an 8% premium. Year to date, the stock's been doing really well. It's up 35%. And in fact, if you look at from the early May timeframe, it's up more than 50%. So it's great to see this stock run up. A lot of stocks have been running up here in the month of July. It's been a great month for stocks, and June was a great month for stocks as well. So I need to take into account that the stock price has really gone up, and I believe past the actual value per share that I calculated previously. The performance of the stock price has certainly been great, and profits are increasing for the company. So the management team's doing a really good job. Positive cash flows are always a good thing, but they are decreasing, which is concerning. The balance sheet is in good shape. I like seeing that. The company, I expect their high growth is going to continue through 2023. They will also be profitable. It's easy to be profitable when there's big demand for their product, and free cash flows will be there. I expect they're going to be a little higher than 2022, and the stock price is pretty high at the current moment. My outlook, the LiveNation demand will be there for this year, but growing higher than the $16-17 billion run rate is going to be difficult because, let's face it, there's only a certain number of dates and certain number of venues. So it's very hard to grow in this industry. It's an international play since many of these performances are outside the United States, which is a favorable thing to look at. And their next earnings call is going to be on the 27th, which I will be listening to. All right, so let me scorecard this investment. Do I want to be a part of this company and in this industry? The answer is yes. I understand it. I think I could make a good decision. The management team, I think, is doing a really nice job, especially recovering from a pandemic. Debt is in good shape. As I noted, they have more cash on the balance sheet than they do have debt, so they can pay it all off. You're not getting a discount. I'm not getting a discount on this stock, which is a big problem because I invest in stocks to make money. And in this case here, I will be selling my shares in LiveNation. I'll be taking a nice gain. I'm up more than 30% on this stock. So I will take the gain and keep my cash ready. And I'll be following LiveNation and seeing if there's a better entry point in the future, or if their earnings really change their valuation, I'll reinvest into the company. Hey, thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it interesting and discovered something new about LiveNation. Please keep in mind, I am not recommending you buy LiveNation stock or any other stock. I do this for entertainment purposes only. I like sharing my experience as an investor. In this case here, I'm a current stockholder of LiveNation. Good luck investing in 2023.